Hello everyone, my name is Infinity and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. This video comes in response to a request from someone out there listening who wanted me to create a video on the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind is something I refer to very often through my videos. And this is because I feel that the subconscious mind is truly the ultimate portal to manifestation, the way to fast track our manifestations from taking years to literal days or weeks. And the reason I believe this is because I've seen this power working in my own mind. Because as I often say on my channel, I came across the law of attraction years ago, and I tried using many practices you often hear about within the law of attraction community. Things like visualization, things like spoken affirmations, meditation, and so on. But I saw virtually no results from any of these practices. I later realized and now understand that the reason for this is because I was trying to change the conscious parts of my brain. But research has shown us over and over again that this conscious mind only accounts for 5% of our thoughts, and that 95% of what is happening in our mind and our energy is actually unconscious, subconscious. This is the same reason why so many people earlier this year created New Year's resolutions. So with the conscious mind, they resolved to themselves that they were going to make some kind of change in their life. They were going to lose 20 pounds. They were going to walk outside every day. They were going to quit smoking or drinking. Some of these resolutions were very, very powerful. They had a lot of intention behind them, a lot of emotion behind them. And yet, after a few days or weeks, maybe even a month of keeping this promise to themselves, this resolution, they fell back into their old habits. And the key word here is habits, because so often when we think of a habit, we think of an action, like making our bed or brushing our teeth. But habits, those physical actions, are actually coming from habits of thought, habits of thinking, which, by the way, are predominantly subconscious, are completely unconscious. This is also why so many of us have certain things we do, certain ways we react within our relationships, certain what we could call habits that we don't even know why we have them, and yet we continue to play them out over and over again. And this is what I saw in my own life. Specifically for me, I had habits of low confidence. So I would always fall back into these feelings of low self-confidence, and then from that space of a lack of self-confidence, I would then often sell out on my dreams and goals because I was listening too much to the opinions of other people for me and for my life, and unable to tap into my own soul's intuition for myself. I also used to have the habit of poverty, because lack mentality, poverty is a habit of thinking. I thought of myself as someone who would never be successful, someone who would never make money doing something I loved, someone who would never experience abundance in my life. And so I continued to manifest these habits over and over again in my life. And maybe you listening to this video can identify certain habits of thought, of subconscious thought that continue to play out in negative ways. If you're not sure where you have these habits, one great place to start looking is in your romantic relationships, because in these very intimate and close relationships, we can often identify patterns. patterns that seem to play out even as we date different people. So for me, one of my old habits within relationships was that I would always have a great first date, but then after the first date, something would always happen to make things fall apart. This habit of thought I had could also be called a belief, because a belief is nothing more than a thought you keep thinking on a habit loop over and over again that ultimately becomes absorbed deeply into the subconscious mind, and therefore becomes very difficult to change. Because something to know about the subconscious mind and these habits of thinking that we store there is that the subconscious mind is always protected by the conscious mind. The conscious mind is like a filter, preventing our beliefs from being altered. This is why some people will remain stuck in a certain paradigm, a view of the world, a certain belief system about themselves or the world for their entire lives. This is because these beliefs are subconscious, and the conscious mind makes it very difficult to alter these thoughts and beliefs once they become solidified in the subconscious. This is why if you have deeply rooted beliefs, negative beliefs about yourself or your life, and then you set about, like I did, to try to change them through conscious action, all of these conscious activities, such as meditation, visualization, affirmations, come up against this wall of the conscious mind. The conscious mind filters most of these attempts out, and they never reach or influence the subconscious mind, or if they do, it takes a very long time. This is why oftentimes to see results from spoken affirmations alone, or meditation alone, or any of those kinds of conscious mind activities, it takes a very, very long time for these activities to ultimately influence the subconscious mind. It can happen, but it can also take months or years even of consistently doing these things to see results. When I began to address my subconscious thoughts and patterns at the root, my life began to transform very rapidly. In fact, every single area of my life began to change. There are many ways to access the subconscious mind, but the key to accessing the subconscious is you have to find a way of bypassing the conscious mind. So some ways to access your subconscious, for example, would be to create a vision board. Create a board that has all of these pictures and quotes and images representing the life you want to create. But then, and this is the key, hang this board up in your room on a wall somewhere and leave it there for months and months. So at first, creating this vision board, the action of creating the board was only impacting your conscious mind. But as you leave it up on the wall, eventually your conscious mind will forget about it. Therefore, it will let down its guard. And then these images on this vision board will begin to influence your subconscious mind. But that is the key. The key turning point here is when your subconscious, or rather your conscious mind, ignores or forgets about these images because they've been in your environment so long that these images are now able to impress or reach your subconscious mind. This is also why we talk so much about the environmental impacts on our psyche, especially in childhood, because as the saying goes, when someone is first exposed to crime, they reject it. Over time, they accept it. And then with exposure long enough to crime, they themselves become a criminal. And this is all just referring to the fact that if you leave something in your environment for so long that your conscious mind accepts it, becomes used to it, and then lets down its guard, this thing will then become absorbed into your subconscious, which will then naturally motivate you into actions based on this new thought or belief. So a vision board is a great way to influence the subconscious mind. But the thing about a vision board is it does still take a long time, because again, you have to leave this board up long enough that your conscious mind has time to forget about it or accept it. The same goes for putting up a quote on your wall. So creating some kind of a quote board or writing some kind of inspiring or powerful saying and then hanging it up on a wall. This works in the same way. We can also alter the subconscious over time by shifting our environment. So doing kind of the opposite of that negative example that comes with exposure to crime, exposing ourselves to positive people and influences in environments, or environments that reflect what we want to create, and exposing ourselves to the environments long enough that our conscious mind becomes accustomed to them, accepts them, and again, here is the key point, lets down its guard and allows these environments to begin to influence our subconscious. So for example, spending time around places of opulence, of places where there's a lot of wealth if you want to manifest more wealth in your life. Surrounding yourself with very positive and uplifting people if you want to be more positive. Listening to confidence-boosting, motivational content consistently every day, making that a part of your environment, so to speak, if you want to become more confident. So just to recap, the 2 ways to influence the subconscious mind we've mentioned are vision boards and quote boards, which kind of go along with that, as well as changing your environment, either your physical environment, your social environment, or your mental environment in the case of absorbing some kind of new content or media, such as motivational content. The third way that I've saved the best for last, so to speak, because in my opinion, this is the best way to influence your subconscious mind, is through subliminals. Now, I mention subliminals a lot on my channel, and this is simply because in my own life, this is the tool that has single-handedly transformed my life more than anything else, really more than any of the other tools put together. Because like I said earlier, I always really struggled to meditate and to visualize, and even when I felt like I had a very vivid emotional visualization, I never really saw results, or the results were very minuscule compared to the effort I was putting into visualizing and meditating, until I started incorporating subliminals into my meditation routine. Now, the way subliminals work on the subconscious mind is that, much like with those messages, those quote boards we might put up on our wall, subliminals contain positive affirmations that are designed to shift certain things in your life depending on the subliminal you're listening to. So some are for money, for confidence, for appearance changes, for relationship changes. And these messages are actually hidden from your conscious mind. So that is the key here, because once again, we are using subliminals to bypass that conscious filter of the mind, because your conscious mind can't hear the messages. Now, there are many different ways that this can be done. Sometimes this kind of masking effect is created because the messages are played at a very low volume. And other times it is because they are embedded within other meditation sounds and frequencies. So I started using subliminals to alter my own subconscious mind, and within just weeks of listening, I started to feel massive energetic shifts in my body, in my confidence, in my mood, in my life, and I found myself just naturally motivated to make major positive changes in my life that ultimately led me to manifesting so many changes. It's hard to even list them all here. But just to name a few, I lost 25 pounds. I manifested my dream body. I manifested my dream relationship. I moved to my dream place, and really so much more. I felt like when I started using subliminals, all my dreams started coming true, but it wasn't really magic. It was just me tapping into my own subconscious mind, which all along had been controlling 95% of what I was getting back in my life. So I became so passionate about subliminals, I started creating them myself, and this is how my website, Sound and Soulful, was born. As you can see on the screen, on this website, I've created over 100 subliminals for all areas of life. Specifically, If you're just beginning with subliminals, I would recommend most highly the subliminal I use personally every single day, which is my 7 chakra clearing subliminal. And this is just designed to clear out any energetic blockages, any negative habits of thought in the subconscious mind, reflected in the 7 chakras in the energy body. So to learn more about this chakra clearing subliminal, check the pinned comment or the description box of this video. When you sign up for a 7-day free trial account on my website, you can access this subliminal as well as any of the more than 100 subliminals I have created. So thank you so much for joining me in this relatively short podcast. Normally my videos are longer, but I just wanted to share a bit more about the subconscious mind, some different ways to influence it, and why I feel the subconscious mind is the doorway, the portal, the key to manifesting everything we want to experience in our lives. So be sure to let me know in the comments below either how you have in the past been negatively or positively influenced by your own subconscious beliefs or habits, or those thoughts stored within the unconscious parts of your brain. I always say this, but I just really love connecting with all of you energetically, virtually, through the comment sections of these videos. So if I did resonate with you, I also hope you will consider subscribing, join our community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. Have a wonderful, magical, magnificent rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again in the next podcast.